When we first started, it was like unknown. It was virgin territory, really. There was literally about, say, a dozen of us down Newgale. We used to meet up on a Sunday morning to go off together, because otherwise you'd be by yourself surfing. I mean, you didn't want that in those days. Load up 2 or 3 cars, 4 in a car. We always said we had our little bit of California and it was down at Newgale.
It's so mainstream now that what I would call the surfing lifestyle, which was totally on the fringes of society, and it was like, surfers were bums, surfers were dropouts, surfers were drug addicts, surfers were, and none of that was true, but it was nice to feel that you're on the edge of society. It had an edge to it, definitely. And because there's so few people around doing it, you felt quite special, quite unique. It was a big adventure, surfing back then. When you're riding a wave, it's quite a meditative experience, in the sense that you don't think of anything else other than riding the wave. You need enormous willpower not to go in if the waves are good, no matter what you're meant to be doing.
We were outcasts, we were a different breed. We didn't play rugby, we didn't play football, we didn't fit in. We spent all our summers down Newgale in our vans, skateboarding or, surfing. And you say we were a bit sort of, hedonistic, a little bit out there, And then I suppose in the 90s, it all became respectable. All of a sudden there was 3 or 4 surf shops in the county, there's 2 or 3 surf schools, and people can learn. We weren't taught to surf, we just picked it up, we just watched other people. No one told us to do this or videoed us and said, now look at what you're doing. It was a different sort of time,
Oh, bloody menaces! To take it to a really high level is my goal. Just to, to surf past my limits, to be the best surfer I possibly can with the support I got and the waves I got. If you always believe in yourself, there's a lot in that.
Surfing is about wave reading, and it's about strength to weight ratio. It doesn't really matter if you're physically stronger in like an arm wrestle or in what you can lift in a gym.
I've learnt that to be the best surfer you want to be, you need to be physically really strong, and light-footed. So I've been doing some sessions in the gym, and sort of surf-based exercises, just trying to get myself into the best shape I can.
I didn't start swimming until I was terrified of the water until I was about 7. I was absolutely terrified, petrified of the water, and I wouldn't go anywhere near the sea, swimming pools. My earliest memories of swimming lessons were curled up in a ball on the side under my towel, pretending I didn't exist.
I know I could never live away from the sea and ever live somewhere where there wasn't surf. It's entwined in my life. I really notice it. That's the one thing that when I'm not in a good place, then I know I can get in the sea, and surf in particular, and that helps so much.
Like getting in the water in the middle of February now is quite a trendy thing to do for your mental health, whereas we've been getting in the freezing cold water in February our whole lives, being like, oh.
I'm quite often not in the present. I'm quite often in my head, I suppose, really. And when you're in the surf, it's just something just amazing that I just can't even describe really in words.
I mean, Pembrokeshire, Wales it's got different kind of people, different kind of waves. I think the waves make a different kind of person, different kind of surfer, if that makes sense. I could have been a completely different person if I hadn't started surfing. That's what I'm trying to say. I would have been a completely different person, and it changed my life.
The surfing vibe around here is a friendly vibe, There isn't that animosity and it's my wave, get off my wave.
My ex-wife would always used to say that the one that came back from the beach was a much easier bloke to live with than the one who went to the beach in the first place. That's a fair comment, absolutely. However,
it's a whole different world outside of your social life and your work life and any problems you've got in the home or anywhere. Like, you get down to the beach and you're in the water and, time kind of slows down for you, and like all of a sudden you're like just so in the moment. The idea of having to surf as well as possible and beat other people, I don't quite understand. I think it's a bit backwards.
Let's get one thing straight. At my peak, at my absolute peak of surfing fantasticness, I was below competent.
I don't know. That looks all right. Look at that. Step, step.
I've been Welsh longboard champ twice. Sometimes being a woman in surfing, you do just have to have a bit more oomph to get out there. You know, you're standing down at the car park and there's 1 or 2 women and there are 20 men. I didn't get on particularly well at school socially, but when I started surfing, I didn't care anymore. It just didn't matter. It wasn't because it was cool. I had something else to focus on. And surfing's given me that confidence to just get on with life.
And I think personally, I think style is everything in surfing. You can be powerful and fast and everything, but if you haven't got style, I've never experienced a feeling like it. You know, and I remember like it was yesterday, the very first time I went in, and I thought I want more of that. And that feeling, you know, 40 years later, is still exactly the same. You just feel like a tiny little speck on this planet when you're sat out there by yourself. Like when I go on a surf trip now, the first thing I'm looking for are my earplugs and my painkillers.
And it's easy to get frustrated as well, because often I think the people who get grumpy in surfing, often they're not as fit, they're perhaps not as skilled as they used to be.
We had to just kind of learn from the older guys, you know, and try to work it out from watching the weather on telly.
You've got to take the wins with the losses, and you've got to take them and you've got to learn from them, you've got to move on.
Oh, we follow her on Instagram, and and actually she's carved out this sort of image for herself that is nothing to do with us or anything. It's just, you know, her kind of reputation and the way what she thinks puts in posts. It's always very humble, it's very grateful, and I think they really love that tone. It's lovely for us, really, as mum and dad, to see that, the way that you, because we let you do your own Instagram stuff. We don't sort of filter
when
it all.
I'm posting, I have to say a competition where I've maybe had a hard time or haven't done so well or feel like I've got a lot to work on.
You're very honest.
I will take some time to write that post, and I will be honest.
The whole spiritual journey part of surfing to me is so alien, you know what I mean? Like, as I've got older, magic and mystery has vanished. When I was a teenager, there was still mystery, there was still magic. And I can still remember that feeling, like distinctly remember that feeling. Not only is it a release of endorphins, it's a release of adrenaline. So you've got that combined 2 drugs, essentially, you know, moulding together to create, you know, possibly, yes, an almost orgasmic experience. There's something extremely calming about being in a chaotic environment, you know, where you are borderline in control.
It's entirely existential, pointless activity.
I hated competing in surfing, and essentially that is what surfing is. You're in the water, there's limited resources for waves, and anybody who's in the water wants the best wave, pretty much.
This kind of etiquette and politeness that you need in the water. They're just ruthless. They want every single wave that's coming.
Even my attitude in those days was, I'll be the localest local at the beach.
Surfers, we're all kind of sheep a lot of the time, because wherever one surfer goes, a lot will cluster. It's like at Newgate.
Bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper. You come down here and you count in, you know, 40, 50, 60, 70 vans. And here's me being all grumpy and thinking, whoa, you don't deserve to come here. Well, of course they do. It's their absolute right, you know. I'm so glad and happy that my kids didn't get into surfing. Surfers are selfish. It's an undemocratic pursuit. It's like swings on a playground. Swings are the most undemocratic piece of play equipment you could possibly have, you know, because it only allows for a couple of kids to play at any time. Same with the waves. Kids don't just go surfing to go surfing. They go surfing and then there has to be an Instagram reel to go along with it. Like, they're selling themselves, they're selling a vision of themselves.
Most surfers, if they're addicted to surfing, are getting through 2 boards a year, 1 wetsuit, 1 or 2 wetsuits a year.
The surf industry is an absolute planet killer.
It's kind of the dirty underbelly of surfing, I think, really.
Going to get some t-shirts made. Yeah, SAS, surfers are sewage.
There's a thing as a parent, you kind of want all your kids to surf and enjoy surfing as much as you did, but at the same time, if you push it, it's not going to work, you know.
When you paddle into a wave, you just get a happiness that I don't think anything else will give me. I started on a tiny boogie board and now I'm on proper boards. because I don't really like competition. I'm not good at coping with it.
I'll try and have maybe like a bag of pistachios or something, or a flapjack or something like that for energy, and then a flat white. What I will do, I'll sort of roll my shoulders on the drive to get them warmed up. Oh, I think my bum's gone to sleep now.
Yeah.
I've learned over the years from mum and dad.
Quite often you'd go back for your third surf of the day a little bit pissed.
Not really, no, no. I haven't got no manifesto.
I do need to shut up sometimes. I need to be told, and I love it.
Behind it looks a bit, if you're
you
wide
go
enough,
far
just
right,
wide
yeah.
of the peak.
And what I normally do is just get out and wait for them all to go away.
Say